on a similar note, in terms of the contemporary artists, the importance of trying to find artists and designers who are not necessarily the most obvious choice when you think about an artist in your area. So for example, I want to just give you an example. I've worked with fashion students who often cite Alexander McQueen as a inspiration. They love Alexander McQueen's work, Mary Quant, but I know from experience and from knowing some of the tutors on the fashion courses that they don't want to hear about Alexander McQueen. They don't want to hear about Mary Quant. They want to hear about people who are graduating on the kind of, London Fashion Week catwalk shows now, people who are maybe completing they want you to be looking and inspired by much more contemporary designers than these kind of big names, big household names. So if you're thinking about fine art, for example, elements in isolation, it becomes something quite different. You focus more on the marks, you focus more on the sort of smooth layering of inks. You compare elements to each other. It becomes much more dynamic when you start moving it about. So what I would suggest, if you want to chop up yours, have a go, see what happens. Because when you start rearranging it, putting different kinds of marks next to each other that aren't kind of supposed to be next to each other or weren't originally next to each other, you do get quite interesting, what we call juxtapositions happening, interesting things happening that you don't necessarily see when it's all one piece. So yeah, play about with it, see what you think, move them around. Maybe you want to see 3 in a row. Maybe you want to look at things that are, quite busy, lots of marks happening here on the left against this nice smooth wash on the right hand side. Maybe you want to contrast that with, one that is quite dark and much less going on. Maybe you want to see them in pairs. I'll put them sideways for you. Is that the right way? Sorry, I can't think. Yeah, okay. So yeah, maybe you want to see them in pairs or in threes, and you're choosing 3 that are quite different to each other. But just by doing this, by arranging it, looking around, looking at them differently, isolating bits, it's quite interesting how it changes things. And I think what would be useful for you to do is cut yours up, have a go, take some photographs take some photographs of the pieces in different arrangements, and then these can go on to inspire maybe one bigger piece. You might decide that actually this one here is going to inspire a bigger piece of work. We'll get onto that. But yeah, have some fun, play about and see what happens.